Good morning. I'm doing my fireside chat today from beautiful Bentonville, Arkansas, the home of, Walmart. You can see there's the original Walton's Five and Dime that I guess started it all. But I'm down here with the 1517 conference this week and trying to receive a little grace to be able to bring more grace. And that's the key. That's the constant goal of the church, is to hear the grace and to be reminded that we just can't do it because we're a mess by ourselves. There also happens to be, it looks like a huge farmer's market thing going on all over the place down here today. Kind of a beautiful area, but it's kind of wet and rainy. I didn't expect that, but that's okay for the day. So as I was thinking on the way down here, I had a 8-hour drive to ponder, and I had looked at an article that mentioned that Jesus is the receiver of wrecks. And the fact is that you and I, the truth is that we are wrecks in our life, and we make our lives wrecks. We have a proclivity to it, whether we believe it or not. People are over stressing, overworking, over trying to make themselves fit into whatever the world's picture is around them today. And the truth is, it just doesn't work. That's not how God intended. That's not why He gave His Son for us, because we keep trying to find a way to please somehow God by doing all this stuff and being all this stuff. And the message of the gospel is, no, that's not what it's about. Even more so, that changes how we look at each other and how we work with each other and try to struggle with each other in our brokenness, because we are all wrecks. I know from my own life, I've made a wreck of my life, and others around me I've talked to who are addicted or any other kind of problems, who are struggling, have made wrecks of our lives. We're just a wet hot mess, as somebody would say. But the fact is that Jesus came just exactly for that purpose, and the scriptures remind us that He didn't come to make our life any harder. He came to bring us a message that He's taking it upon Himself, and He's going to take care of the problems. And that's good news if we hear it. If we choose not to hear it, then we keep struggling and working all the harder, and actually making our life even more of a wreck all the time. But there's one account I think of and thought of long ago when I was in the seminary, how Jesus starts His ministry off in the Gospel of Mark very clearly, proving this point, because one of the first things that happens is he's approached by a man with leprosy, a man whose life is a wreck because of physical disease. And because of that, his life is a wreck because everybody outcasts him. And because of that, his life is a wreck because his family won't even deal with him. They've all probably kicked him out and removed him from being around them. And this man in this wreck of a life, this collision of a life, for lack of a better term, comes up to Jesus and he says, "If you choose, you can make me clean. In other words, you can restore me. You can remove the wreck of my life. You can change all this for me." And Jesus' answer isn't like, "Well, I'll think about it," or, "Well, here's what you have to do. Here's your 50 ways to go do it. Here's your 10 ways to make your life better with your family," or any other self-help kind of self-situating problem that everybody wants to seem to think the church is about today. The fact is, Jesus looks at him and says, I choose. And Jesus touches him. He touches him. He's not afraid to join into the wrecks of our life, into the mess of our life that we make. He doesn't make it for us. We make the wrecks of our life. And corporately together, we make a wreck of our life together in sin and brokenness. And the fact is that as I was coming down here, I was thinking of a hymn, and it was one of the hymns we sang during Lent, "In the Cross of Christ I Glory." And it has a specific part of that verse in that hymn. The cross towers over the wrecks of time. Towers over the wrecks of time. That means that the cross towers over all the stuff that is a disaster in our lives and the disaster around us and the wrecks that we make of ourselves. And Jesus and His cross offers us something very different. He chooses to make us clean. He chooses to take the wreck of our life upon Him. And so we don't have to do anything to make it work anymore. We just receive and begin to live and to love in the freedom of what He's given us. He didn't come to do all the things that most people imagine Jesus came to do. He came to take upon sin and death and to put it to death forever, to bury it and to nail it to a cross and to bury it in a tomb and leave him there, never to come back again. And yet, we still work so hard to try to make ourselves God's perfect person. We keep working so hard, and the stressors and the strains just add more wreck to our life today. It's really tough watching younger families anymore today. It was hard enough when I was there, but it was a different approach, and yet today it's even harder because you see so many people struggling to keep up with everybody else because they allow everyone else to tell them how it should look, how they should be, all the things they should be doing. And yet Jesus' answer is, why don't you start with me, resting with me, and learning from me. That text from Matthew seems to have come up over and over, and even was in the discussion last night at the conference, that come to me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden, whose lives are a wreck. Come to me and take my yoke on you and learn from me, because I am gentle and I am humble of heart, and I will give you rest. That's the first place. That's the first place. We're going to be doing a study coming up. I hope younger families especially join it with me, but anyone is welcome. It's a book that I was waiting for in May, but I actually found a copy of it here today. We're going to start working on preparing a class and study on a book entitled Ragged, Spiritual Disciplines for Those with Crazy Lives. I think it's really important that we realize how much we do to ourselves and to one another. Even by saying that we have to do our spiritual disciplines in such a way, we've got to read the Bible every day, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. The speaker last night talked about the fact that he had to get the Bible app off of his phone because he got this message that said, congratulations, you've been in the Bible 1,000 days in a row. And he said, that was a problem. Because from that moment on, the first thought is like, wow, look at how impressive I am. And then, of course, the goal is to keep going so you don't break the record. And you pointed out that's Satan's way of trying to continue our wreck. So he got rid of the app and realizing that wasn't going to help him. He needed to read the Bible, but not because it was to accomplish anything other than to know Jesus Christ and Him crucified. Maybe this week is the week you'll come and you'll actually put everything before God when you realize that your life is a wreck. When you realize the truth that Jesus comes for people who do know it and who are ready to give up and who throw their hands up in the air. And He doesn't promise it's going to be an immediate, immaculate thing. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's even messy. But the fact is that He comes, and He comes for those who are sick. He comes to heal them. He comes to bring them a healing in the middle of their wreckage, to restore them, to renew them, to strengthen them, and then to rebuild them. The cross towers over the wrecks of time. Still standing today. When everything else, Walton's 5 and dime here, all of the Walton, all of the Walmart mega conglomerates, all the things of the world, all the busyness that you're thinking of doing and thinking you have to get done, all of it's going to go away. The only thing that will remain is the cross and an empty tomb. That's something to ponder as to how we're living our life, how we're focusing our life, what we're doing. Jesus has come to receive wrecks, and He chooses to do it. He's glad to do it, and He's ready to reach out today and to touch you as well. We just say, Lord, I can't do this anymore, and His answer is, okay, then walk with me. Let me show you some things. Let me show you what it looks like, what the real grace and the message is of me. It's not to do more stuff. It's not to be better. It's not to keep a image up for everybody else to have to see how wonderful you are. It's for the church to come to realize together we are broken, failing, faulted, wrecked people. And together, Christ has given us a life that is forever. And He offers it freely. And He offers it with great grace and generosity. And He's reaching out to touch you again today and every day. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll be heading back tomorrow from Bentonville, so I look forward to getting to see you all soon. God bless you. Amen.